Tell me about this book and tell me a bit about your journey, because I believe there's some big changes recently that makes it fantastic for everyone watching.
Okay, so I wrote that book because that book didn't exist. So I was a software developer and I switched over into application security. I was really excited to join, and there was no book that would kind of teach me how to do that. There was the Web App Hacker's Handbook, which taught me how to do buffer overflows, which is super nifty, but there wasn't one about like how to create a secure system development lifecycle, how to encourage software developers to write more secure code, and all the other things. I started writing a blog because my colleague at the time at Microsoft dared me to. And then
I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did.
Yeah. And then people were reading it and asking about it. And then publishers started writing me and saying, you should write a book. And I was like, me? No. But eventually one of them said, what if you wrote the book that you wished someone could have given you? And so I'm dyslexic, and in Canada that's considered learning disabled, but really it's more that I learn in a slightly different way. And so I wanted to make a textbook that was really easy to read and understand. And so whenever I do public speaking, or I give lessons, because I teach secure coding and stuff, I'll explain the technical thing, and then I'll tell a story, and then sometimes I'll do a little quiz, or also show some code, or sometimes I show a design or a graphic. And I try to show it in at least 3 ways if I want them to learn it. And so I tried to do that with this book. So the characters of Alice and Bob that were first created to introduce the idea of encryption in 1978, I had just been using them in my blog, and when I would tell a story, I'm like, it's not Alice's fault. It's not that Bob is to blame. Let's look at the core issue of this security incident, for example. When I was trying to decide what to call my book, I had explained how I wanted to have these stories all throughout the book, which is not normal for a textbook. I wanted to have like little sidebars and little definitions and stories about me. And I was like, a lot of people are suggesting I name it the Application Security Handbook. I'm like, but I'm weird. Yeah, I'm weird. I'm the purple lady. And I was thinking of calling it Alice and Bob Learn Application Security, and then eventually writing a whole bunch of books about what Alice and Bob learn. And the publisher said, I love it. There's nothing else like that. He's like, you're kind of adorable, and maybe that's okay, right? And it's maybe a softer, more gentler introduction. I've had people tell me they read it over the weekend, almost like a novel. I'm really glad that people seem to like it and that it's just accessible and easy to understand. So that was my main focus, is just taking this really complex concept and industry and making it easy for people to get into it.
I haven't read the whole book, but I've read quite a bit of it. And I love the way that you explain stuff. I've got a lot of markers here to ask you questions. Probably won't have enough time today, but hopefully I can get you back to, ask you some more questions. I've seen this in so many textbooks, and with a lot of the complicated security concepts, it's over everyone's head. And you do a lot of training, so I love the way that you do this.